this class, we are going to look at the Matchmove step in our compositing. During this class, we are going to use script linking 3D layers and virtual cameras, applying the movement to the background in two different ways. Let's start from the 3D layers technique. Since the beginning of this project, we had the background composition. Upon import, I selected the retain layer size option in order to use it in this instance. As you can see, the different planes in our background have transparency and different sizes. We are going to use this at our advantage in the Matchmove process. First of all, we need to copy the null one from the tracking comp into the background comp. As you can see, the background comp is much longer than our shot, so let's trim the comp to the area we need. Now, if I parent all the layers to the null, I have all of them moving as a shot. This is not going to work because when we move, we perceive objects far away moving slower than objects up close. So we are going to need to replicate this effect. Let's select all the layers and reset the parenting. Then we are going to create a virtual camera by right-clicking in the comp and selecting New Camera. For the kind of work we are going to realize, now we are better use a one-node camera with a camera preset at 50 mm. We receive now a warning window. Cameras and After Effects affect only 3D layers, and we have none in this comp. We know that, and we are going to address this in a second. Now that we have the camera, we need to parent it to the null one in order to have it moving exactly as our real camera. If we play our comp now, nothing happens because the layers are still not set to 3D. So let's select all of them and activate the 3D layer switch. Now we have our scene moving, but the movement itself hasn't changed from when we directly parented the layers to the null object. To make the background behave properly, we need to move the different layers in the depth dimension. To do so, let's go to the viewer and activate the two views horizontal option. Now, in the viewer, we can see the top view on the left and the active camera on the right at the same time. This is useful in order to visually manage the position of the layers in the 3D space. If we manually move the cursor in the timeline, we can see the movement of the camera in the top view. Let's select all the layers but the foreground and move them on the Z dimension. Keep a slight difference for the middle ground, much more for the background, and place the sky further away. As you can see now, the relative movement is smaller, but the elements are not covering all of our frame. Let's correct this by enlarging the scale of the different layers. In the case of the middle ground, let's bring it a little bit toward the bottom of the frame as well. And now they all play out nicely together. To have a quick preview of how our background is going to interact with the foreground, let's open up the keying comp and drop the background comp in it. We can then reposition the background to better match the point of view of the shot. We are not actually doing our composite yet, so let's mark the background layer as a guide layer. A guide layer is a reference element I see in my viewer but will not be rendered in the final output or even displayed when nesting the sequence. It is really useful to make sure things are working correctly before proceeding with the project. In the composite step, we are going to use this background comp. But now let's look at how we can manage the match move using script parenting. In order to work correctly with the script parenting, it is better to have the background comp with all layers set at the same size. So we are going to import it again. Let's click on the graphics folder in the project tab, press Ctrl I on the keyboard and navigate to the background element in the Explorer. Once selected, use the composition option in the import menu. Now let's rename the comp to background linked in order to distinguish it from the previous one. Put it in the comp folder and open it up in the timeline. As before, we need to import our null one to the comp by copying it from the background comp. Then let's open up the position parameter for all the layers and connect the foreground to the null. As you can see, the layer is moving to the exact position of the null because the anchor points of the two layers are not in the same position. We don't need this, so first we are going to use the pan behind tool to reposition all the anchor points to the same coordinates as the null. Now that all the layers are set, we can use the pquip to connect their position parameter to the nulls. The next step is to apply a multiplier to the middle ground, background and sky in order to make them move less and less. Let's start by applying a 0.8 multiplier to the middle ground. Click on the expression editor and simply edit the formula. The result is not exactly what we expected. In fact, the layer moved to a different position altogether. That's because the values are not compatible due to the different size of the tracking composition and the background composition. So we will need to edit further our expression. We are going to define the two variables for x and y, multiply them by the same value, and add for each one the difference in position to make them start at the correct coordinates. And now our movement is correct. Let's apply the same transformation to the background and sky layers. This approach to Matchmove is not an exact science, thus you will probably need to change the multiplier a few times before finding the ideal solution for the shot. Unfortunately, every time we change the multiplier, we need to correct the starting point as well. Now that we completed our animation, we can add the background to the key comp and see a preview of the result. After repositioning the layer, we can see that the movement of the background is much more accentuated than in the 3D layer version of the composite. Once again, the difference in result is a choice based on the needs of the project.